I am going to call the meeting to order. It is actually 7:05, and we are going to start with a Pledge of Allegiance. Please join me.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. First order of business is the minutes from July 11th, and board meeting, and July 28th, the workshop meeting. Has everyone had a chance to review? And I'd take a motion to approve both those minutes.
So moved.
Thank you, Brent. Second?
I second that.
Thank you, Declan. Any questions, adjustments, discussion? No. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, done. All right, on to regular business. And the first order of business is the community needs assessment. And we have three folks from Red Hook Response here this evening. If you would come on up. Declan, can you possibly flip your camera so that Sarah can be on screen?
Yeah.
Oh.
How are we doing? Hey.
There you go.
Right. 21st century.
So the floor is yours, Sarah Ugolini.
Okay, thank you, Mayor Smythe and the members of the Red Hook Village Board for considering the proposal in front of you. I'm Sarah Ugolini, the Executive Director of the Red Hook Community Center, and I'm joined here today by Janil Gari, the Executive Director of Red Hook Response, and Neville Smythe, a board member and volunteer for Red Hook Response. The proposal for which we're looking for your support is called Community Needs Assessment for Red Hook and Rhinebeck, New York. This proposal was selected by Red Hook Response and the Red Hook Community Center following a request for proposals to organizations across the country. We selected this proposal from Hudson Valley Patterns for Progress for two primary reasons. The first of which is community knowledge. Many of you know the pattern and the work that they have done analyzing different needs and challenges in the Mid-Hudson area. They are unquestionably one of the most knowledgeable organizations doing the type of analysis we wanted to undertake. And then the second reason is cost. At $30,000, their proposal came in approximately $20,000 less than the other proposals we received. You may be asking why we would, two Red Hook organizations would take on a larger needs assessment of the larger area, the Red Hook Rhinebeck area.
Sarah, can I stop you for a sec?
Yeah.
Is the microphone on the, is that on?
Do you need me to use it?
I think maybe if you just hold it up, there's something that's rumbling a bit, and I'm not sure what that is.
This.
Well, give that a try. I still hear the rumble too.
I think it's one of our microphones.
I think it is the microphone, but it seems to be catching the air, for lack of a better description.
Yeah, turn it on. There's a button.
Hello. I'm not sure that it's this.
No, I don't think it's on. It's not that one. Okay, never mind. Keep going. Thank you.
No problem. So without going into the mission of both of our organizations, which we are certainly happy to do, if you would like us to, both organizations were very active during the recent pandemic, aiding individuals in our area who were challenged by access to food, isolation, and other circumstances. Both of our organizations, despite our names, serve both Red Hook, Rhinebeck, and the surrounding area. And we are pivoting away from COVID and continuing to see challenges faced by members of our community. For our own strategic planning purposes, we see a need to assess the needs of residents in our area, but we also know that the challenges faced by many are larger than our two organizations and missions, and will likely need to focus on other nonprofits, municipalities, county, state, and federal government for support. For example, someone who's food insecure might also have housing issues, medical issues, temporary or permanent obstacles. Nonprofits often put Band-Aids on these problems, and our hope is that this type of study might give us more holistic analysis, a more holistic view, which may result in better solutions. This needs assessment will use interviews, focus groups, surveys, and statistical analysis to identify areas of need in our communities. which can then be acted upon by everyone who wants to improve the lives of those living here. Like all the communities will have access to the results. Toward the $30,000 that we need for this proposal, we've received verbal commitments totaling more than $20,000. From the Dyson Foundation has committed $5,000, Thomas Thompson Trust $5,000, Town of Red Hook tentatively $10,000. And this week we're talking to you, the Town of Rhinebeck and the Village of Rhinebeck to ask for your support and their support as well. We did talk to the Town of Rhinebeck earlier, and it does seem that we will have their support as well. Once funded, we will then put together a small task force to work with Pattern for Progress to make sure we get the best information possible, especially from residents who may be harder to reach. Rhinebeck and Red Hook are special places and two of the jewels that make up the Mid-Hudson Valley. But not everyone who calls this place home is able to live healthy and safe lives. So we feel it's critical to understand where the gaps are and challenges so that we can collectively raise up everyone who lives in this area and calls this place home. We feel this community needs assessment is an important investment in our residents and will help us to meet the needs, their needs with greater clarity. Any questions?
Would the assessment look into transportation and lack thereof of
Yeah.
some people?
Yeah, this will be a holistic needs assessment that
Okay.
will hopefully cover the needs of the entire community, the entire area, the greater Red Hook area, essentially. But it should include Rhinebeck and the schools on things like transportation, housing, food insecurity, other needs, basic needs, and beyond.
Thank you.
Will there be any, anything around walkability? ADA accessibility?
You know, they can, so, you know, I'll kind of go back to transportation. It will address transportation if the people we talk to and hear from say transportation is an issue, or walkability. It's really going to be driven by, the answer will be is transportation is going to come up as an issue. Walkability, it all depends, but I think we want to hear from the residents themselves, and or those the thought leaders and the folks who have knowledge here. So
because the whole intent is to be needs driven, so driven by the actual needs of the community members, rather than imposing our own beliefs on those community members. So we can use this information once we've gathered information from the folks who actually live here, even those who are hard to reach. We can use it to do a lot of strategic planning, and by we I mean all the little organizations in this area, all the municipalities, to do a lot of strategic planning that will then be honed in and targeted on the actual needs of the community, and which could prevent waste on things that are not needed, and then have a greater effect on those things that are.
No, go ahead.
I was going to ask,
You need to get close to the mic.
with the report that you're going to release, is that going to be public information that anyone can see? Or are you going to?
That's the plan.
yes,
That's great.
Share it with anyone who cares.
Yep.
That's wonderful. That's a huge benefit to the community.
Can you just briefly go by the methodology, how you go about getting access to those people in need, and how you would gather that information?
Sure. So
Just briefly,
that's why we're hiring the experts. But yes, they use a number of methods to reach people, including first off probably connecting with the grassroots community partners that are in touch with folks in the community. So starting with those community partners, surveying the larger community, focus groups, inviting in focus groups, potentially with what are ways that they bring people to focus groups, incentives, etc.
Exactly.
Just it's a big effort. It's a boots on the ground effort to get out to those remote, and I don't know if they are actually physically remote, but those folks that are hard to reach, and bring them in. So, and they'll consider things like language barriers, barriers to transportation, etc. And then in the development of that pattern by which they'll collect information.
Yeah, think part of that will be the planning stage of how best to reach people. I think in a perfect world, we'd get everyone to respond to an internet survey and it would all be fed into it. I think for some of them, we will have to set up and do some in-person survey work and then have that brought into the totals as well. The important thing is to reach as many different types of folks as we can because everyone's needs are different.
And the planning process will be done with the folks who know in this area, right? And that's why we chose Pattern. That's one of the two reasons we chose Pattern, because they're familiar with this area and they've done a lot of needs assessments in adjacent areas, not ours. And so we'd like to have benefit of that as well.
I guess I would add, knowing that we do have a homeless population, most of whom are not visible. Pattern has done a housing needs assessment, which I would assume that they have done some work in finding people who are not currently housed. And so the challenge, they're not going to respond to an internet survey, so that becomes a little harder to capture. So I would hope that Pattern would make an effort there too.
You know, I think again one of the benefits of Pattern is their local knowledge, and they've done some of those studies already, and so those other studies will help inform this study as well. So some of the things about housing and other things that have happened that they've recently completed may allow for greater efficiency in collecting information, especially the statistical information.
And they come with references. One of our other funders is going to call those references. Yeah, just find out how when.
Any other questions? And what's before us is a question of, do we think that we should invest village funds towards this needs assessment? And then if yes, then the next question would be how much?
I think it's a good opportunity for the village to get involved and join our partners, the other local municipalities, and I think a strong coalition of all of our neighboring communities together with us, I think will really present a strong front and a good effort to reach those people who have special needs that we can address and hopefully find out what they are so we can address them in a better way. So I think it's a good cause, and I would be supportive.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say I would be supportive as well. I think data is so important, and if we have the opportunity to learn more about our community, I think it's a good investment.
I will add that we just received notification of a MIG grant that we applied for, which is a language access grant. And part of that grant that we applied for included reaching the community of people who are, English is not their first language. And so I think that's something that we might be able to, and we have a specific organization that we are planning to work with. They're based in Kingston, and I don't remember their name. But that would be an interesting collaboration to incorporate into this study. So I'm thinking that we should perhaps make a motion that we would support this, and then I think the question is how much. I don't know if we want to do that all together. I can tell you that we do have a line item in the budget that is I think it's labeled something like Red Hook Seniors, and we do have $2,000 in that line item. We have in the past supported a senior organization for $1,000, so we do have a free and clear $1,000. I would also imagine that we could, with some effort, come up with another $1,000 within the budget. I know we do have a little bit of flexibility in there, so I don't know what your thoughts are in terms of dollars.
2,000 sounds doable within our budget, I think, and
Would you like to make that motion?
yes, I'll make the motion. I'd like to make a motion that we support the needs assessment and also support it in the amount of $2,000 from the Village of Red Hook.
Is there a second?
I'd second that.
Great. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I, full disclosure, the board member from Red Hook Responds also is the first gentleman, so I will officially recuse myself from this vote. But thank you, even though I know that it's incredibly well done and going to be very important for the community. So thank you very much. Thank you for the efforts, and thank you for thinking beyond just your organization. We really, well, to Red Hook Responds, and thank you to the Community Center for always being willing to reach out to the community and collaborate and work with. We really appreciate it, and we look forward to working with you. And we will, don't forget that we do have this language access grant and would love to coordinate, because I think that can add some value both to what we're doing and what you're doing. So,
That's wonderful. And thank you. We really appreciate your support.
thank you. All right.
Excellent.
And now we are on to the next, okay, letter of intent. So there is the state, New York State has announced $200 million in funding for revitalizing downtown areas in communities across New York State. There are two programs. One is called New York Forward. The other one is the Downtown Revitalization Initiative. I'm not talking about the Downtown Revitalization Initiative. I'm focused on New York Forward, which is a new program. And it supports, and I quote, "a more equitable downtown recovery for New York's smaller and rural communities with a focus on hamlets and villages." There's $100 million specifically focused on this grant program. And they are requesting municipalities to send in a letter of intent to apply by this coming Wednesday. The letter of intent to apply is a very simple 3-page document that is not the application. But I would like to ask for a motion to authorize me to submit a letter of intent to apply. And what we are looking to include in our proposal is a comprehensive look at the business district, but also with some specific projects within that. So for example, parking, looking at a coordinated plan to perhaps link parking lots to secondary roads, looking perhaps at off-street parking, public parking, just sort of looking at the overall parking in the business district to help make just the getting around and encouraging people to come and park and walk around the community better. Community identity, looking at key branding or identity or placemaking, pedestrian cycling experiences, streetscaping. I know this is something that Brent has spent a lot of time thinking and planning in terms of bump outs, traffic calming elements, other physical identifiers for public spaces within the business district. The other would be the second business district. We've talked a little bit about this, the area that is behind Salvatore's and Peel's Coffee Shop and that area up there. There's a whole area behind it that is really underutilized. And if we were to have some investment and some planning, we might be able to create a whole secondary area where people could go and they could walk around, and we could create some retail space as well as some living space. And then just public spaces in general in terms of thinking about the downtown, the core village business district as a whole. And we think this has the potential to be an exciting opportunity to put together some of these ideas into a cohesive plan. So it really is that rough because, and that's all it needs to be at this moment. But I would like your authorization to submit, again, it's a letter of intent to apply.
I'd like to make the motion to accept, to give you the opportunity to apply for the letter of intent for this particular grant program.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second that.
Thank you, Declan. Any further questions?
Can we just change the second business district to a sub-business district?
Yes, sir. Let me write that down so I don't forget.
So this is it.
Yeah. It's just a real
The draft?
synopsis now.
Okay. Well, so we put out first.
And that makes sense because,
It'll still be general business, but it'll be
Yep.
special to the North Broadway area, especially the east side of North Broadway.
yes,
But this grant will pertain to the entire general business district in certain aspects of it.
yes. Okay, let's see, I got a second. That was discussion. Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, well, me too. Great, thank you. All right, the next item is LoSAP. The LoSAP numbers were provided to you prior to the workshop, but all of the documentation was on 2020 forms. I have spoken with the fire department. Ray Toll, our treasurer, has also spoken with the fire department. And what they told me was that this was the packet they were given, and they were fine with just changing the date from 2020 to 2021. And so I think that's fine for us to proceed. There are 16 members who have reached the 50-point total, so they qualify for the service award program. There is one member who is on military leave. The way it works for military leave is there's up to 4 years service for volunteer fire service if you are on military leave, provided that when you return, that you return back to voluntary fire service at the Red Hook Fire Department, and that you achieve service award subsequent to your military service. So that's in escrow, if you will. And so we are required to review and authorize the LoSAP documents to submit to PenFlex, which then authorizes payment for benefits for those who qualify through service credits. It is based on call attendance. Call attendance as well as meeting attendance and drills. So I would like to make a motion to authorize all of us to fill out the requisite approval form for the 2021 numbers and send them to PenFlex for benefit distribution. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any other questions?
So this will come from fiscal year 21, 22 or 22, 23?
No, we are, we have budgeted for 1 year. And so we will pay for this. We're basically, our numbers are a year behind. And so last year we paid for the prior year.
So this
Last year we paid for 2020, so this year we will pay for 2021.
So this will come from general fund 22, 23 then?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes. Any other questions, comments? All in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. All right. All right, the next item of business. We had previously approved a revision to the building, planning, and zoning department fees, and there are a number of amendments that the planning department has requested, and I've actually put together a resolution. I do not know what resolution number we are on, so we will have to add the resolution number. It's going to be the next resolution number. But what the adjustments that the building department has requested are adding the word minimum after $100 under residential construction. And then for the fence permits, indicating linear feet and not square feet. and adding the words "or inside" under oil tank replacement, and also adding electrical work slash upgrade, $100. And I believe you received a list of those fees. It's titled Building, Planning, and Zoning Department Fees Approved June 13, 2022, revised and approved on with a blank, because the notion is that we'll do that tonight. And the resolution that I have is, whereas the Village of Red Hook Building, Planning, and Zoning Department has a fee schedule, whereas the increased level of construction activity in the village and the increase in cost to the village for oversight, therefore be it resolved that the village board hereby adopts the attached Building, Planning, and Zoning Department fees approved on June 13, 2022, and revised on August 8, 2022. May I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Thank you, Declan. A second?
Second.
Thank you, Brent. Any questions?
Can we get a copy of the resolution?
Of course you may.
Thank you.
And hopefully that was actually an English sentence that I wrote there. Yes. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye, okay. I will give you a copy of this after the meeting.
Thank you.
Okay. The next item of business is the water rate and fee schedule. As we discussed in workshop, there was a rate increase schedule that was passed, I believe, in 2016. And it just seemed as though it was time to just use take the time now to have a more recent adoption of our water rates. And there are just a couple of revisions that we made. The base water rates are all the same. We have just removed the pool filling rate schedule because that is not being used. And there is one, and we made an adjustment to the late penalty. It is now 5% if not paid within 30 days. It was originally by the 20th of the month. And then we have added an additional 5% if not paid in 60 days. And the one adjustment that has been requested by our highway department is related to tapping. Currently, our tapping fee is $2,500, and then there's the tapping, if there's road cutting or crossing involvement, is $3,000. What I propose we change that to is tapping with road cutting and crossing involvement, an additional $500, and if there's tapping within the sidewalk that requires cutting the sidewalk, that it's an additional $500.
So if someone cuts through the sidewalk and the road, it's $1,000.
An additional $1,000, because both of those cost us in addition and separately. I do have a resolution. And this will be the second resolution for tonight. This is the resolution to confirm the village water rates set forth in the attached schedule of rates. Whereas the Village of Red Hook provides water at posted rates to its customers. Whereas Village Code Section 195-26 allows the board to adopt a fee schedule for water rates. Whereas the village board desires to codify our current rate schedule with some adjustments. Therefore, be it resolved that the village board hereby adopts the attached schedule of rates dated August 8th, 2022 to be the current water rates. May I get a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Brent. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Declan. Any questions or discussion?
If the tapping just cut the
Declan, you need to use your microphone, please.
Sorry. If the tapping just cut the sidewalk, it would be $3,000? Okay.
Yes.
Road and sidewalk is $4,000?
No, it's just, it's,
$3,500. Okay.
it'd be $3,500.
Right.
Yep.
Okay.
And this is basically just to codify what we had originally agreed to several years ago,
Yes.
but had never really been codified.
Well, I believe the rate schedule had been approved, but it was approved in probably the end of 2015. And these were rates that were listed for the third quarter of 2017. And so that's just a long time ago. And at this point, it just felt logical to have it. And there were a couple of adjustments that, in the details, that made sense. Any other questions, comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, okay. Okay. Yes, that's coming. I'm doing it at the end. Thank you. Next on the list is initiating sewer fees. That's going to take a resolution, and I did not write one up. We do have time to do that at the September meeting. And so I am going to push that off until the September meeting, and we can discuss specifically what we want to do at our August workshop meeting to prepare to pass a resolution at our September meeting. Okay, there are no budget adjustments for tonight, so the next item is bulk trash pickup. So we've talked about adding this a bulk pickup service a couple of times, and we talked about it at our last workshop meeting. I have also, in the meantime, spoken with our highway foreman, Jake Smith, and what I am proposing, which I think matches what we talked about in the workshop meeting, and my apologies for not sending this around prior, but we can certainly adjust it if we make this a trial run. But the idea would be that the village will pick up a bulk item, such as a couch or a chair or a table, with a special bulk tag available for purchase. And it would be $25 per item. There will be an additional $5 if it's a mattress or a box spring, and that's because the Ulster County Resource Recovery Agency charges $5 for a mattress or box spring. And that would be no hazardous waste, no stumps, no e-waste. I have a comment on e-waste in a minute. And also, after discussion with Jake, I want to add the pickup of a large number of garbage bags. When someone's moving out, and we often find when BART students are moving out of their apartment, they put out a large number of bags. And it's really a one-time pickup. And in the end, if someone puts it all out there, but they only have one or two tags, eventually the bags are going to rip and the garbage is going to be everywhere, and that sort of defeats the purpose. So to encourage and enable a continued positive keeping our village clean is to have a pickup of a large number of garbage bags. And again, that would be a special tag. And so the proposed amount would be up to 25 bags, $75, and up to 50 bags, $125. If you do the math, that is a deal versus buying individual tags for 25 bags or 50 bags. But it is obviously recognizing that it's multiple bags.
Can you go through those prices again?
You bet.
50 bags are?
Up to 50 bags is $125, and up to 25 bags is $75.
And that's going to be a tag attached to it's not going to be something coordinated by appointment? That's a lot to put it on a tag. Someone might go in.
I'm not exactly sure how we are going to do the tag.
Yeah, okay.
Maybe we do a big long tag that you tack around the bags. That piece I hadn't, except that it should be a special tag.
Yeah.
Or a big, huge tag that sort of signifies that this lump of bags is for pickup. They're not to put it out prior to the night before anyway, so it's not like it will sit there for a long time.
That's true.
You wouldn't necessarily, you'd hope that people aren't trolling to add their bag. Now, if a couple of residents were going to do a big, culling of stuff in their house and decide together to get a tag, it's more efficient for our garbage pickup to have them all out at once. So there's a benefit in both directions.
Definitely.
The other two pieces to any item that contains enough scrap metal will be picked up for free. So, for example, a refrigerator or a dishwasher, we are already picking that up for scrap metal. And then the last, I did actually look up for e-waste. Ulster County Resource Recovery Agency, if you go to their website, they are actually currently taking e-waste for free on Saturdays from April to November. Their website is ucrra.org. If you look up waste recycling electronics, they pick up Saturdays only from April to November, 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. You must check in at the collection point, and they're looking for intact items. But apparently, you are not required to be an Ulster County resident. So that I think that is new, but that is clearly on their website. So we can direct folks. At another time, I think it would make sense for us to talk about perhaps an e-waste pickup, because I think that could be a positive service where we just pick up a whole bulk of them and our team takes them across the river. And we can perhaps do that either in conjunction with or 6 months after the town. The town does collect. You can drop off. I think they have a special drop-off time for e-waste. So I have written a resolution to establish bulk pickup services in the village. Whereas there are times when village residents have large items or a large quantity of trash bags that they would like to dispose of, whereas the village highway department already provides garbage pickup service for bags properly tagged, whereas the village highway department can provide limited bulk pickup with existing equipment, whereas the village garbage pickup service is provided to help keep the village safe and clean. Therefore, be it resolved that the village clerk is authorized to purchase special bulk pickup tags, and the highway department is authorized to begin picking up properly tagged bulk items based on the attached fee schedule. I'd entertain a motion to approve this resolution.
So moved.
Thank you, Declan. A second?
Second.
Is that you,
Second.
Brent? Thank
Yep.
you. Any questions, discussions, amendments?
Is the fee schedule here? Do we have it, or you have?
No,
Okay.
sorry, I printed it out this afternoon.
No worries, it's the same,
And,
it's everything you just said, so.
I read it verbatim.
Okay, great.
Oops, you can't have that, though. And I'll give you a copy. Any other questions or?
So up to 50, what's the minimum number, the bulk?
If someone wants to put a $75 tag on a one bag, they'll pick it up. So there's no minimum.
So no minimum, but up to a certain amount, so.
Yeah.
So it'd be cheaper if you did the math, right? Once you hit that threshold, then you could buy the big ticket.
Yeah, if you think about it, if you go with 6, let's say, 75 divided by 6 is 12 and a half. So up to 12 bags, you're going to want to buy $6 tickets. Once you hit 13 bags, it's to your advantage to buy the bulk ticket. And clearly, this is something that we can try and see how it goes. And adjustments certainly can be made as we go forward. Any other questions or comments?
I think it's great.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, sounded like all of us. Okay, that goes here. All right. I actually have two things that were not on the agenda. One is the fire company agreement. the current agreement we have with the fire company ended last year, and we have been in negotiation with the fire company and have been waiting for their providing us with reports. And we are now getting reports, and going forward, we will be getting reports. It will be not the most recent month, but the one before that. That is the timing that they are able to provide us with. And so for tonight, I have through June. In order for us to sign the fire company agreement, we need to have a public hearing, and so we need to set the public hearing. So prior to the, I just have some final adjustments to make to the agreement, and then I will send it all around to you, and we will make it available to the public as well. But tonight, I have a resolution to set the public hearing for the fire company agreement. Whereas the Village of Red Hook desires to contract with the Red Hook Fire Company for fire services, whereas Section 4-14-9B of the village law requires a public hearing for any contract for fire service with an incorporated fire company, whereas the next monthly meeting for the village board is September 12, 2022, therefore be it resolved the village board will schedule a public hearing on the fire company agreement on September 12, 2022 at 7:05 p.m., and the clerk will publish notice in the Kingston Freeman. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Brent. Second?
Second.
Thank you, Declan. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, thank you.
Did we set the date for the public hearing, or are we going to?
September 12th. So it'll be at the beginning of our September monthly meeting. Yes, schedule a public hearing on September 12th. Yes, I did write that. Okay, and then the other item, in our budget, we have funding to upgrade our water meter reader system, software system. What we did not include was the cost of upgrading our water meter billing system. The joy of technology is you touch one thing and there are always other things. So our water billing system is software from PCI, and their quote to create that interface with the new software is $3,500. This is a long-term change. This is not an annual fee, and so I would like to make a motion to approve authorizing PCI to create the interface that we need and to pay for it from our short-lived asset reserve fund. I believe that I will need to have a formal resolution to transfer funds from the short-term asset reserve, which I will do at our next meeting, if you all are in agreement with this proposal.
Can I ask a question?
Of course.
What is the short-lived term?
10 years.
Okay, so we would maybe need to replace the program in 10 years then, because that's the requirement for the fund?
It's, yes. Actually, I say 10 years. I think that is, somewhere within that, I believe.
With the
Brent?
short-lived access, it's actually a requirement from USDA for phase 1 and 2 of our water. So we put in $25,000 a year as requirement for our loans that we obtained from that. So this is something that the meters were part of phase 1, so this qualifies for a short-lived asset. So there's really, I don't know if there's any term in that. We're required to make this contribution, and USDA didn't set a limit to this. So this, as long as we have to replace or enhance or something that had been taken care of during the first 2 phases of our water project, then that fund's available for use on that.
So
And actually, the 10, and I apologize, the 10 years is the minimum for CHIPS. So that's what stuck in my head. So short-lived asset, do you know if there's a definition of short-lived?
Well, the loan is 38 years, so I would maybe use that as a
Something less than
gauge.
that. There you
So
go.
it's more the requirement that it's a replacement, not that it would necessarily have to be replaced later.
No, this is something, again, short-lived is, I think that the idea for the short-lived assets is that we accumulate enough money, then as time goes on and components start wearing out, we have the funding available to replace those
Yes.
short-lived assets, so
And presumably, the pipes that we put in the ground would be long-term, so.
it'd be long-term
That's a
asset.
different, that would come from a different place.
So I think we're down to 32 years now, so we got some time.
So I would take a motion to proceed and approve this expenditure.
So moved.
Thank you, Brent. Second?
Second?
This is pending resolution, or that was the resolution?
Well, it's not written as a resolution. I would say to proceed and to plan to pay for it from short-term asset,
Short-lived asset.
short-lived asset, with,
From USDA short-lived asset. That's a reserve account, right?
yeah, so I'll just formalize it next month I will do a resolution to move the funding from the short-lived asset fund to the water fund. So this is a motion, if I understand my definitions correctly. You all right with that?
Yep.
Okay. Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Great. Okay, that's it for general business. Now we move into the department and committee reports, starting with the treasurer's report. Mr. Toll.
The account balances as of the end of July are as follows. In the general fund, $1,616,352.41. Water fund, $244,738. Trust and agency, $28,142.41. Sewer fund, $1,165,542.59. The majority of that number, of course, is the disbursement number 7 from the EFC
For the sewer project, construction project.
for the construction of the sewer. Hardscrabble, $19,910.39. Village Green, $7,403.92. Health insurance, $4,413.30, and petty cash, $57.68. The reserve checking balances are as follows. Fire Department, $5,034.06. Police, $14,587.24. USDA, $134,052.40. Highway, $30,586.48. Snow Reserve, $3,279.74. Tower Reserve, $17,712.75. Unemployment, $4,544.48. Court Reserve, $3,298.84. Office Reserve, $972.60. The total monthly expenses for the month of July were as follows. General Fund, $117,923.89. Water Fund, $19,721.37. Trust and Agency, $2,350.16. And Sewer, $814,374.87. That concludes the Treasurer's report.
I just want to point out that the USDA reserve checking balance, the $134,000, that's the short-lived asset fund that we were just talking about. And just to clarify, Ray, the general fund at $1.6 million, that's because we've got our property tax revenue.
Yeah, the tax revenues are at about 95% right now.
And that covers a large portion of our annual budget throughout the year. Any questions? I think I need a motion to accept the treasurer's report.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Declan, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Thank you very much, Ray. Actually, we can probably mention that what's listed as trust and agency on the monthly expenses, there are new GASB rules, correct me when I'm wrong, Ray, that require the trust and agency account to go away, to become part of the general fund. And I know that Ray and our controller, Michelle Zagorski, thank you, sorry, worked on it actually this morning to make that transfer. So the trust and agency really is a fund that passes through for, primarily for payroll. And so we will be changing the name of the fund to the payroll fund that we will use to transfer monies into it so that ADP can take monies out of that fund. But then we will report it as part of general fund as per required by the state. So thank you again, Ray, because I'm keeping that going. All right. Now these are my reports. So we have the monthly police report. Incidents are 319. In the village of Red Hook, there are 214. Now, just to be clear, there's a large, one of the things that we have our police department do is drive by provide security for our water facilities. And I will say in the month of July, there was, I guess one of the reasons why this is a good idea is there was water pouring out of our water tower. And it turns out there was an interruption with our internet connection, and it was actually able to be fixed remotely. So it started with noticing that it was happening. So I appreciate that happening. We are actually getting new reports from our police pro, but I have not worked with the police department to come up with a summary report, and I look forward to doing that. But just to give folks a sense of the types of incidents, there are lockouts, foot patrols are in here, so we do have foot patrols going on. We assisting citizens, accident property damage, other accidents, lost property. Those are the types of incidents that we have here. Welfare checks as well. So there were 214 in the village of Red Hook, 100 in the town of Red Hook, and 5 in the village of Tivoli. The traffic items, you have the village of Red Hook has 30, which total number includes 1 parking ticket, and then in the town of Red Hook, 23. And then were 4 arrests, 1 in the village of Red Hook and 3 in the town of Red Hook. And then I actually do have my fire department report. Going forward, I got this report on Wednesday, so my apologies for not forwarding it around to you. But I will do that. I've done a summary. And so for the month of May, there were 19 total incidents. There were 11 EMS calls. There were 8 alarms or smoke alarms or false alarms, and that was the total. And then in June, there were 28 total, 18 EMS calls, 5 alarms, 1 fire, 1 assisting service call person in distress under that category, and then there were 8 under the category of a good intent call, smoke scare, that sort of thing. So far this year, through the end of June, there have been 108 calls. 68 of them are the EMS calls. 23 of them are alarms. We've had 1 fire. So that's 91 of 108 are the EMS and alarms. So that's the police, the fire. Personnel, just an acknowledgement that Anna Marie is here, our deputy clerk, and is covering for, there she is, you can wave to the camera, covering for our clerk, Jen Cavanaugh, who's on vacation, so thank you very much for being here. And that is my report. On to Deputy Mayor Kowalczyk.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to start with the Village Green Committee monthly report for July. Current balances of the Village Green Committee's related budget accounts as of July 31st are as follows. Community beautification, we have $4,000. Shade tree contractual, $12,000. And the Village Green checking account is $7,403.92. Some of that money was for 2 benches that were ordered and delivered and waiting to be installed in Abraham's Park, and some donations by the Burke family in honor of her mother, Teresa Burke's mother. So thank you very much for those donations, and we're moving forward on beautifying the village. The Village Green Committee meeting was held on July 5th. In the Village Building, we discussed the 2022 Tree City USA grants. The New York State Urban Forestry Council has grant applications for funding for the planting of a large specimen tree or a grove of trees in a prominent location within the community. The Village Green Committee decided to apply for the grant and proposes to plant a grove of ornamental trees near a seating area to be installed in the western edge of Richard M. Abrahams Memorial Park. And Brenda Cagle prepared the grant application. The trustees approved resolution number 11 of 2022 at the July 11th meeting, and the trustees meeting supporting the Village Green's application. The Tree City USA grant was emailed to the New York State Urban Forestry Council on July 14th. We're waiting to see if we got the grant. We also reviewed the proposed list of trees located on the village right-of-ways to be removed or pruned. A complete list of trees are listed in the Village Green Committee's monthly report of July 11th. The list was submitted by the Village Highway Department, and all trees listed have been examined by a certified arborist. There were 2 trees in particular located on the east end of Park Avenue and Old Post Road. We had those re-examined by a certified arborist. The report was submitted on July 16th to the village. The trees were found to have obvious signs of decay and infested with invasive wood-eating insects. Due to the high volume of pedestrian and vehicular traffic in the area, the arborist strongly suggested that the trees be removed and replaced with young and healthier trees. We regret to see those trees to be removed. They're just beautiful in a prominent location. We'll change that particular area, but
I will add that's in my neighborhood, and I walk by it every day on the way to and from Village Hall, and it will definitely make an impact. But I think that that's why we have an arborist. And thank you, Charlie, for having us look at it again just to make sure, because they are big trees, and it will be sad to see them go, but that's why we have a Village Green Committee, so that we replace those trees so that they will live for another 100 years.
And the Village Green Committee discussed and reviewed potential planting sites for the 2022 annual Fall Planting Day. A list will be submitted. Property owners will be notified. Trees will be ordered and delivered, and sites will be prepared prior to the planting days scheduled in the beginning of November 2022. And we discussed Village Green signs and information for property owners who have had trees planted on their adjacent right-of-ways. And this will be prepared by David Pearson and Brian Foran, 2 of our Village Green Committee members. The Village Red Hook was notified on July 19th that the Dutchess Land Conservancy awarded a $1,500 grant to the Village Green Committee. The grant was offered to municipalities to plant trees to offset carbon emissions generated by a previous road rally fundraising event sponsored by the Conservancy. The Board of Trustees and the Village Green Committee thanks Ross Williams, who got a hold of Dutchess Land Conservancy on our behalf, Karen Carras, and the Dutchess Land Conservancy for their assistance and most generous donations. This will be used for the annual fall planting. The amount was close to what we did for the spring planting, where we got to plant 11 trees. So we're looking forward to planting 11 more on behalf of Dutch Land Conservancy, and thank them again for their assistance and donations. And residents and businesses interested in having a tree or trees planted on their adjacent right-of-way, volunteering for planting days, or making a donation to support the Village Green Committee's various community beautification projects may contact David Pearson, the village clerk, or myself.
Brent, can I ask you, the signs that you're talking about, are the ones that are like on the edge of the village? You said that they're...
We have Tree City USA signs on this. Yeah, the signs we were looking at were, in the past, we've given each property owner a booklet on how to care for a tree. And we had, typically we put signs by the trees that we plant that said planted by the Village Green Committee. Those are getting old and
Got it, okay,
need
so it's like
replaced.
those
So there's
lawn
the
signs.
lawn signs.
yeah.
Makes sense, okay.
We get through the New York State Urban Forestry Council and the Tree City USA stickers that we put on. So this was our 20th year, and you'll see we only get 2 stickers. We have 3 signs, so they have been put on our Tree City USA signs
Got it.
at the
Well,
gateways.
and we have our flag.
And our 20th anniversary flag, which is flying proudly outside
Yes,
the
thanks,
village
thanks
building.
to the Village Highway Department, who, I think they had to redo the rope so that we could hang the flag. So, thanks to them.
Always resourceful. Speaking of, the Highway Department monthly report of July, the Village Highway Department is currently picking up brush every first and third Thursdays of the month. Residents are reminded to place lawn debris, leaves, and brush in separate piles, and please limit the brush piles to 6 feet by 6 feet by 6 feet, with tree branches no larger than 6 inches in diameter. Brush that includes tree trunks, stumps, garbage, or construction materials will not be picked up. Residents with smaller amounts of brush are encouraged to share a brush pile with their neighbors, and please limit your brush pile to 1 pile per household per pickup date.
I just want to acknowledge that there are quite a few brush piles that are out now. It has been a busy 2 weeks, 1 week, what is it, Monday? There was a lot of extra brush because of the storm, and so just acknowledging that the schedule is a little off this month.
Yeah, I believe they came by on Monday. They were busy cleaning catch basins,
Yeah.
exercising valves, flushing fire hydrants, and fixing water leaks. So,
Yes.
And also pouring slabs at Abraham's Park. So they've been busy this week. They'll get to it though. The Village Highway Department has prepared a list of road repaving projects to be financed in whole or in part by the New York State fiscal year 2022-2023, CHIPS, Pave New York, and Extreme Winter Recovery apportionments and rollover balances. Estimates have been submitted, and we are looking at several projects. I think we'll bring those up next month, I guess.
Yeah.
We had over $300,000 worth of estimates. We're looking at spending probably over $100,000 on several roads that are in need of repaving. We can't repave every street in the village at once, so we try to set a priority and do those in a timely manner. Catch basins and dry wells have been cleaned during the week of July 25th. A $9,000 estimate was approved. I think the actual number came in to about $1,500.
It was 14,400.
We were able to do every catch basin in the village, so that's a good thing. Fire hydrants in the village and areas of the town receiving village water services were flushed during the week of July 18th. Progress maps were used. These are the new ones that we are having prepared. Locations and conditions were recorded to include on updated maps and repair and conditions spreadsheets currently being prepared by Delaware Engineering as part of the Village of Red Hook Water Distribution System Maintenance and Improvement Project. No revenue was generated from the sale of scrap metal during the month of July. Total revenue generated from the sale of scrap metal in this fiscal year is $627.20. Since inception of the scrap metal recycling program in September of 2007, $43,863.46 has been generated. Proceeds from this program go toward the purchase of tools and equipment for the village highway, water, and materials management departments. Residents and businesses interested in donating scrap metal may contact the village highway department at 845-758-8600 or the village clerk's office. And the highway department personnel will assist property owners by picking up scrap metal upon request. Yeah, going back to the CHIPS money, so we did receive a quote on July 25th. We're close to $300,000, so we're looking at several projects, and we'll have that out to you, which streets we'll be doing this year.
Yeah, what that means is we will not be paving every road that needs it.
No, and there's a few that do need it. The Intermunicipal Task Force and the Red Hook Infrastructure Monthly Report for July, the Red Hook Sewer Project. There is quite a bit of information that I include on these reports, and it is available and will be available online. I'll just kind of hit the high points real quickly. We now have 100% of the mains installed. As of last Friday, every component of the wastewater treatment plant had been put in there. I was out at the site last Friday when they brought a tank in. I saw one coming down the road as I was coming to my meetings on Friday, and the third one was delivered. There were 2 mixers that were slightly damaged that now have been repaired, and they were picked up last Friday and now at the job site. And there are blowers also that we had some issues with that we've resolved, and it's going to be installed. So it's quite a scene out there, and we're looking for startup probably toward the end of this month, and this will be with clean water just to test if there's any leaks in the system, and then we'll switch over the old treatment plant, the existing treatment plant from Red Hook Commons. Let's see how the plant works with treating raw sewage, and then we'll be hooking up the tanks. So tanks have been started to be installed. There are a few of them are in there. This will probably be the messiest part of the project, but probably the most important part of the project. So this is something that'll lead into next month when we discuss the O&M charges for the sewer project. It still looks like we're close or on schedule for our November substantial completion date. The Village of Red Hook water distribution system maintenance.
Brent,
Yes, sir.
I just have a question. How
Yep.
many tanks in total are being installed as part of the sewer project?
Oh, there's sludge tanks. There's EQ tanks. There were 1, 2, 3, 4 separate tanks out there,
Okay.
and they were pouring the pad for the generator when I was there. So it looks like that site is pretty, compared to the existing plant and what we're putting in there, it's a nice size. So when I was out there last Friday, I asked them, is there room to expand? And they assured me, yes, there's plenty of room. So, but when you see it, it looks quite big, and it's actually impressive. So
Got to get out there.
Maybe we can do a board field trip.
where was I? Is there any other
Water.
questions on the sewer?
Do you know if when they start putting the tanks in residential, if there's going to be a schedule so far?
There will be a schedule. You will be notified. Communication is, especially for the tanks, because that'll be most invasive on your property. So you will hear from them. They'll let you know.
But they don't have like a schedule that like an estimated?
They have restarted their 2-week look-aheads,
Okay.
and so we should be getting, I think, we did not get one last Friday, so I should be getting one tomorrow.
Okay.
So I think There were 2 tanks installed already at St.
Paul's.
Paul's, and they were thinking, the last we heard last Friday was they're starting on East Market Street with the tanks.
Okay.
So they may bring in 2 different crews, and at that time, we don't know. It's just whenever they do it. So they'll be bringing the tanks in, installing them. They won't be hooked up until the plant is operational. And when at that time, your electric service has to be hooked up, so you should be getting notification from the electrical contractor, so they can hook up your supply box to the panel on the outside to operate the pumps and the circuitry from there.
I guess as a homeowner in the sewers district, I'd like to know if there was an estimate that it was going to happen the first week of November, my section of street, or so that one can make a little bit plan ahead.
We haven't gotten that yet, and this is something we've been asking for, so I don't think they know yet either.
Okay.
So, they're submitting a 2-week look ahead, and hopefully they'll have that schedule. When they did the mains, they gave us a pretty good forecast as where they're going, like a game plan on doing this. So if they have to bring in 2 different teams, again, we can't control that.
It's just, as a homeowner, it's hard to adjust within only 2 weeks.
Absolutely.
If I have to move a car, or it would be nice to have a little bit in case there's travel or et cetera.
I think the goal is to give you at least 2 weeks' notice, but that's something we always talk to the contractor about. Communication is essential.
Our next meeting is not this coming Friday, but the one after, so we will add that to the list to make sure that, to see if we can't get a longer lead time for areas.
Yeah, general neighborhoods would be helpful, or
And,
blocks.
and a lot of it hinges, there's so many unknowns, in the whole mix as far as delivery and availability, and, how much they could stockpile at the staging site. So that's something that we have no control over, but I think we owe it to all of our customers, that get proper notification and accurate notification as well. So thank you, we'll bring that up. The Village of Red Hook Water Distribution System Maintenance and Improvement Project and the Sewer Service Area Procedures and Protocol. Meetings were held on July 15th with Delaware Engineering and the Village, and also our Highway Department. No further work has been completed on the water distribution asset inventory maps. I just learned that the survey may start in September. For some of the other quadrants, we've approved that estimate. We discussed the 12 potential water hookups off Old Farm Road for the Traditions Development Project. Meter types, Red Hook Village notifications, and billing procedures were discussed. We reviewed a proposal from Northeast Water Technology, and this is what I just mentioned, to locate potential leaks on North Broadway, Phillip Street, West Market Street, and Grave Street. Rural Water Association will do a preliminary general leak detection prior to the work by Northeast Water Technology.
And just to go back to those 9 to 12 potential water hookups for Traditions, that is part of the original contract that we signed with, that the village signed with Traditions. These are not new.
So
They're starting them now.
there's, I think, 9 separate buildings on that site. Then our main goes to a master meter, which supplies the rest of Traditions outside of those 9 to 12 properties located on Old Farm Road. Hydrant flushing schedules for future maintenance, including the ability to isolate sections of the village for main hydrant and valve repair and replacement, were discussed. We reviewed a proposed electronic mapping and data collection reporting and software service, and discussed and reviewed forthcoming stormwater control measures for properties on Prince Street. We also met on July 28th with Delaware Engineering, Kirchhoff Development, our water operator, C3ND, and Jen Kavanaugh, our clerk of the water as well. We discussed the confirmation of potential operational status of wells 5 and 6 located east of the village. We discussed what type and ownership of water meters for the 9 to 12 properties on Old Farm Road of the Traditions Development. And also the Old Farm Road South Broadway water loop has successfully been installed and inspections approved. The water loop is operational as we speak. On the intermunicipal task force side, both Charlie and I represent the village of Red Hook, and there were no meetings in the month of July. I think we're on a hiatus right now with the task force. Some of the other committees that I sit on with the town, there were no meetings of the Town of Red Hook Zoning Review Committee, the Community Preservation Fund Advisory Board. There were no meetings held during the month of July. The current balance of the Community Preservation Fund as of July 31st is $2,962,217.63. You put that in there. The Saltkill Watershed Community, there were no meetings held during the month of July. The Town of Red Hook Local Waterfront Revitalization Plan Working Group meeting was held on July 13th via Zoom. We reviewed the proposed amendments to Section 3, which is the local waterfront revitalization policies, proposed amendments to Section 3 and 4, and amended the new maps. And the new amended maps will be sent to the New York State Department of State for review, comment, and approval. The proposed amended Sections 1 through 4 and amended maps will be sent to the Red Hook Town Board for preview and review. And the next step for the LWRP Working Group, pending approval from the New York State Department of State and the Red Hook Town Board, will be to conduct public outreach events and solicit comments from the general public. The Village of Red Hook Zoning Review Committee, both Karen and I are members of that. There were no meetings held during the month of July. A site review and introductory meeting was held on July 15th with landscape architect Frank Palumbo to review existing conditions and proposals for a master plan for future improvements to Richard Abrahams Memorial Park. An estimate for design services, including conducting public information gathering sessions, is forthcoming. The Red Hook Village ZRC, along with other groups, the library, is considering to submit an application to the New York Forward program, which we discussed earlier in the meeting. And that's all I have.
Thank you very much, Brent. Now we are on to Trustee Lang.
Excellent. So I have a couple of reports. I'll start with the materials management for the month of July. There were 1.03 tons of commingled, 0.32 tons of cardboard, 0.95 tons of paper for a total recycling tonnage of 2.3. Then we collected almost 6 tons of garbage, and we sold $2,775 worth of tags. That is from Village Hall and from the library and from Taste Buds. So garbage costs came to $626.85, and then the fuel surcharge of $81.48 gives us a total costs of $708.33. That's that.
But you didn't point out the exciting blank in that. There's no contaminated recycling.
No, that's true. There wasn't the prior month either, so we're on a bit of a roll with that.
And there wasn't in May either, so we're on a 3-month roll.
I think people have got the message, including myself.
I also think that it's possible the Highway Department is taking a look before they take it over, I think. So
Yes.
kudos to everyone.
And then I also have the Village of Red Hook Water Treatment Facilities monthly report for the month of July. And during the month of July, the water treatment facility treated 8,243,400 total gallons, which is an average of 265,900 gallons per day. That's a bit of an uptick from the prior month.
I'll just add, we did hydrant flushing, and when we flush those hydrants, it's a fair amount of water that goes out while they're doing it,
Right,
so.
and
that-
I think, I mean, if you look at the daily flows, as you go through the month and you get into the second half of July, the volumes get significantly higher. I think, I mean, it's been very dry, it's been very hot, people are watering things. I think that's got to be a factor as well.
Yeah, I think that matches up to when we did hydrant flushing as well.
Okay.
So I think those
And
two
more in the
things.
second half of the month?
I think so.
We also sent off 3 samples for bacteriological testing, and they all came back clean. And then during the month of July, the water treatment plant used 75 gallons of sodium hypochlorite, which comes to an average daily use of 2.14 gallons per day. I think we're making progress on various issues in the water system. There's a few some more testing scheduled, I guess, for this week. Otherwise, that's it for the report.
All right, thank you very much. All right, Trustee Caraval.
Okay, so Red Hook Together, August meeting was not held at our normal first Thursday meeting time, as this month we will be hosting a mixer on August 25th, 5:30 p.m. to 7 p.m. at the Red Hook Recreation Park Pavilion. Everyone who is hoping to join a future Red Hook Together meeting are welcome to come chat and mix and mingle and with provided refreshment and snacks. Family members are welcome to attend as well. Red Hook Town Economic Development Committee. The committee has had a limited meeting schedule this summer. They met July 6th, July 20th. The next meeting will be September 7th. The summer BARD intern continues to contact businesses for business listing information. The EDC members expressed optimism about the town applying for a grant to redo the town's comprehensive plan, and members hope to be consulted at some point for their input. The new director of the Chamber of Commerce, Agatha Bacliar, attended the meeting and shared that she would be distributing an import replacement survey to collect helpful data for chamber members. And I just filled out that survey recently. It was interesting.
Can you explain that a little bit more?
Yeah, so it's a survey about all the products that you buy not in Red Hook, to understand better the ways that we could perhaps have businesses meet those needs here.
Thank you.
And it also asks for suggestions of businesses that people would like to see in Red Hook, so we could possibly attract them, I'm guessing. So it was an interesting survey.
Are they available, or?
I will forward it on to the board members.
And perhaps, maybe the rest of your question, if I understood it, is perhaps to ask Agatha if we could put it on our website, for example, if people wanted to fill it out.
Sure, I will
I
definitely.
know she's trying to get it out there. I'm not sure what her specific target is, but perhaps we can
Promote it.
facilitate or promote it or something.
I will definitely ask. Great. The Village of Red Hook Communications Committee. The committee has now switched from weekly meetings to meeting the first Wednesday of the month at 1:30 p.m. in the Village Hall Conference Room. The committee met July 13th and June 3rd. We discussed various goals, as well as possible initiatives such as creating a more comprehensive postal address list for residents, promoting the newsletter website in different mediums, and redesigning the digital welcome letter to be more interactive. The mayor's newsletter went out to inboxes on August 4th, and we encourage any community members who are interested to sign up for the newsletter at redhookvillage.org/newsletter. If you have any ideas of website features or communication methods you would like to see our communications committee investigate, please email me at mkjarval@redhooknyvillage.org or call the village clerk's office, and you could leave a message, and we'll look into it. The Village of Red Hook Hardscrabble Events Committee. The Village Events Committee met July 18th at 6 p.m. in Village Hall. All the individual working groups for the Hardscrabble shared out their progress for the Hardscrabble Music Festival happening on September 17th. Also in the works, the Village Halloween Parade taking place on Saturday, October 29th. If you're interested in volunteering skills or time to the events committee, or perhaps your business would want to sponsor an upcoming event, contact Amy Melcorca, the mayor, or Jeff Walsh via the events committee email address events@redhooknyvillage.org, or call the village clerk's office. The Village of Red Hook's Human Relations Committee. The Human Relations Committee meets the first Thursday of every month at 7 p.m. over Zoom. This month's meeting was August 4th at 7 p.m. We discussed the committee's hardscrabble booth, details and logistics of a community portrait project, as well as reviewed copy for flyers, brochures, and press releases promoting the open seats on the committee. Committee members have placed a request for an official village email address so that shared files can be stored by the village in a dedicated Google Drive folder. If you wish to attend a future meeting or have an issue you would like brought to our attention, please contact me by email at mcarville@redhooknyvillage.org. The Red Hook Public Library Report. The library has a new roof and is grateful for everyone's patience when the parking lot was inaccessible to patrons. As the summer season wraps up, the Red Hook Library wants to remind the community that families are allowed to reserve family pool passes 3 times a season. You can call or visit the library to set up a reservation. In other pool-related news, the library will be hosting a pool party for senior citizens at 12:30 p.m. to 2:30 p.m., August 23rd, 2022, at the Red Hook Pool. There will be a lunch provided. This event is completely free, although registration is required. Please call the library at 845-758-3241 or email Renee at adultservices@redhooklibrary.org to register. And that's it for me.
That's great, and I just want to go back to hardscrabble because we are a month and a half away, and we are right on the edge of announcing the whole lineup, and we're very, very excited about it. It's going to be a great event, and we're going to have beautiful weather, and the team has been working very hard to make this go. So it's a little hard to believe that we're at this point again, and we also thank all the sponsors who have sponsored so far, and we are expecting a few more to come in. So I'm very excited about the upcoming Hardscrabble Day. Now we have Trustee Dwyer McNulty.
Sure. So this is the...
You need to use your microphone, though, sir.
Thank you. Sorry about that. The zoning and planning monthly report, there were 10 building permits issued, 0 certificates of occupancy, 19 certificates of compliance were issued. There was 1 municipal search, 1 fire inspection, and 1 complaint. The planning board met July 14th. They tabled a site plan application for 3 St. John Street to the August 11th planning board meeting. Signage was approved for 7361 South Broadway, and a site plan application for 31 to 35 West Market Street was tabled to the August 11th meeting. In July, the Zoning Board of Appeals did not meet. Should I mention noise ordinance revisions?
You can, sure, if you want.
So as it stands, we don't have a standard in our village ordinance for what constitutes. We don't have a quantitative standard for what constitutes a noise infraction and what doesn't. It's subjective. And the town of Red Hook and the village of Tivoli have the same noise ordinance. So that might be our judge in Red Hook, Judge Sriwasa, recommended referencing that ordinance to create a quantitative standard for the village.
Well, and I think what I would just add is that Trustee Dwyer McNulty and I are working together to review that. We are also very open to comments, concerns. I did mention it in the August newsletter, and I've gotten a number of responses to that with specific instances and concerns about noise. So our job is to go through all of that and come up with a proposal. We also need to incorporate legal counsel into this at this point. And then we will come up with a proposal. We will have public hearings and proceed from there.
Can I ask a question?
You may.
How often are the police called for noise disturbances in the village? Do you know if that is an issue?
You know, that is an excellent question, and it's not a high number. but I don't have a number, and so that, we will add that to our list of things that's an excellent point. I hadn't thought to ask them for a summary of that.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. Declan, you have the
Oh,
building
gosh.
department sheet? I think you just have total dollars. This one?
Thank you. Oh, there it is. Okay. Right. So, let's see. There were the 19. The building department, through permits and fees, applications mostly, had an income of $2,753 and no cents in the month of July.
Excellent, thank you. Okay. All right, we're now at general business. I actually, before, one of the things that I do want to mention is we have had recent issues with air conditioning in the police department. Spent a little time in the police department this weekend. We did have an emergency call because the air conditioning system was not working on Saturday morning. American Heating and Cooling came in, and they did their thing. They got it. If anyone wants the gory details, I'd be happy to share. But it tripped again, so it was off again Sunday morning. I was able to turn it back on, so we didn't have another emergency weekend service call. But it tripped again this morning, and American Heating and Cooling will be back tomorrow morning to do a fuller review of our system. I'm told that this has happened a number of times before, and so I'm hoping that American Heating and Cooling's review tomorrow will give us some indication of what might be going on, and if there is a larger fix to keep this from happening, that I will share that with all of you. And that was the only thing I had to add. Did anybody else have any other general business to add? Hearing none, this is an opportunity for public comment. Any public comment? Please come on up to the podium. If you'd state your name for the record. If you hold it up.
Steve Zarchuk, 92 Cambridge Drive. A few things. One, if you turn on the Cambridge Drive off Amherst Road, right there, when you take a left, the road is starting to disintegrate and needs repaired. Or it's just going to keep disintegrating. Also, we still got the problem with the major vehicles coming through from the housing development.
The Traditions
Right.
Project? Yeah.
Right, they're still coming through there. You know, it's major equipment. It's not.
Yeah, it is.
It's not the little dump truck. Also, has any more discussion been had about the tree in front of Griff's old diner, deli right there? That I brought up a few months ago.
I think from all accounts, it's a healthy tree.
It might be a healthy tree, but it's a dangerous tree. You have to pull out. When I come up there, I pull out and my nose is on Route 9 to see around that tree to see anything coming southbound.
So the tree is on the south side of Amherst.
It's like right on the parking lot there.
It's right on the parking lot in front of what's going to be the coffee shop.
And that's a scary intersection to pull out of sometimes.
What was that?
It's a scary intersection to pull out of sometimes.
Now leads to the next question. Is there going to be a light at that intersection or some other, or the Traditions, or the intersection down there by Ross's property? Coming out by the movie theater?
Well, that's town down there, right?
Yeah, two things. One is that is a state road. It is also the town, so that would be up to the town, and I'm not sure what they had planned for that.
Okay, how about the intersection of Amherst?
So I know we did 3 different studies on that, 3 different proposals for the roundabout, an intersection change, realignment of Firehouse Lane and Amherst. We didn't get numbers on those, and we decided not to pursue at this point in time, but we do have proposals for them.
Okay. And the last question, or on your sewer, you said that we're going to get, or you'll get a 2-week notice of what they're going to be doing?
2-week look ahead, and that's.
Look ahead?
Yeah.
But when they do the tanks, and they have to get into the electric, now, what if they go in for the electric and we have to have a new electric box there?
So the tanks, I think most of the tanks up till, I think the number was around 10-15. The existing tank will remain on site. They'll put the new tanks adjacent to them. They won't hook it up unless your electric is connected because it won't operate the pipes.
Right.
So the tank will probably be installed but not hooked up. So we're going to have to, there will be properties that will be able to be hooked up both with electricity for the pumps and with the tanks, and that's why the treatment plant has to be up and running before that. But they've started putting tanks in already.
Okay.
But you should be getting notified if you haven't already by the electrical contractor. Try to set up an appointment to get the electric service looked at.
I'm inquiring about Christ Church.
Yes. And
I
they
haven't been
received no
notified.
notification?
No. And nobody at the church has, that I know of.
And I know he's having problems getting people to respond to, so I don't know if they contacted you or if that's been done yet, but.
What I'll do is I'll contact everybody
Yeah.
because how they call us, or do they mail?
They probably mail, they've been trying to call, but if you have their number, which you should have their number, just call Sasto Electric, contracting, and set up an appointment, they'll come over.
It's on
I
the
get-
village website.
I was also going to say that we can confirm with them what number they have for Christ Church and
Yeah,
see
if
who
you
they're
could,
calling.
that'd be great.
Yeah, that seems like a
Because
logical.
I'd like them to have my number.
Okay. That makes sense.
Do you have their contact information?
No.
Okay.
No.
We'll make that connection.
When it came about, Brett, there was another group
Oh,
in
okay.
charge, and that group has. So now, it's been a few years now, all the information.
Because it'd be good, that we can either do it or you can do it to convey that information, who should be contacted,
Yeah,
so,
I will.
Yeah.
If you want, you can email me, mayor@redhooknyvillage.org.
Yeah.
In the meantime, I think I have your contact, so I can reach out. One way or the other, between the two of us, we'll make it work.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Appreciate it. All right, I don't see anybody else. Yes, sir.
I went over to resource recovery with with electronics, and I would just contact them and see what they do take and what they don't take, because we took a lot of electronics over. Some they didn't take.
It's actually on their website. They do say what they take, and their contact information is there as well. That's actually a good point. It would be wise to check in advance.
Yeah.
Thank you. All right. We actually do have executive session. I would like to make a motion to adjourn to executive session to discuss some personnel matters. May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We actually might have business when we return, so I don't know if you want to stay, but Cassie, since we don't have anybody attending via Zoom, you can go ahead and close it down, and you do not need to stay for our return. All right, without adjournment, let's go do, let's go do our thing. I'd like to reopen the regular meeting. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Brent, second.
I'll second.
Charlie. And it is 9:17, so we ended that at 9:17. I would like to make a motion that the subject matter is non-union village employees, and I would like to make a motion that we raise the following 4 employees: Clark Kimball, Lara Hart, Jen Kavanaugh, and Todd Van Buskirk. 2.7% in salary, retroactive to June 1st, and that we raise, and I can give you all this detail, and we raise Rebecca Kent to $21 an hour, retroactive to June 1st as well. May I have a motion for that?
So moved.
Thank you, Brent. Second?
Aye.
Declan? Any questions, discussion?
So
Just-
this has been budgeted for. The majority of these increases have been budgeted in this fiscal year.
Yes,
Just want to be clear. Okay.
yes.
They were anticipated.
Yes. And the 2.7% is what the union employees, both the police and the highway, received in their contracts. Any other questions? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay. Any other business? Hearing none? Oh, yes, yes, I need a motion to pay bills after audit.
So moved.
Thank you, Brent. Second?
Aye.
Thank you, Declan. All in favor?
Aye.
At least I remembered before we adjourned. And Deputy Mayor, do you have a final motion?
I do. I'd like to make a motion that we adjourn this evening's meeting of August 8th, 2022.
Second?
Second.
Second, excuse me.
I think Mel Corcus snuck in on that one.
Sorry.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you all very much. Thank you. Thank you, Anna Marie.